No, I'm sorry to say, but have you ever met David Blaine in person? I was curious about him.
I have not, but I have met Chris Angel. I've not met David Blaine, but like two of my friends are very close advisors of David Blaine, so I hear a lot of stuff.
Is that disposition he has on camera the same he has in person?
Do you mean having all the personality of a potato?
Yeah, sure. You could phrase it that way.
I mean, we're very different people, me and David Blaine, and I suspect that we would get along great in real life. But he's he's got a different attitude. I'm a showman. I'm all about the
flash and splash.
Yeah, well, or at least like give him something to think about. But David Blaine is very much about like letting the magic speak for itself, and I totally respect that. Especially after seeing the train wreck of Chris Angel. But because when Chris Angel first came on the scene and I met him, I was like, oh, I get this. This is somebody who's trying to inject some personality, and I thought it was cool until I saw what he did with it and what he did to the people who made him a success, and it just slayed me. I mean, Chris Angel was he has been, in my opinion, disgusting to the people who have made him a success, and that really bums me out. Whereas many of my friends have become consultants for David Blaine, who sounds like a super straight shooter, somebody who's been very straight up with him and very cool.
Interesting. I'm amazed you aren't full of Golden Globe talk, Tom. Usually, like every
Eileen's
year,
out of town.
Ooh, interesting.
Yes.
Well, the only part I caught was when what's his name, the guy who plays the gay kid in Glee, got an award for Best Supporting Actor. I thought that was kind of
on
cool.
TV.
Yes.
Oh, nice. But he isn't even a regular part of the show this year, because he went to the other school.
Wait,
what?
The gay kid goes to another school now?
Oh, you haven't kept up with the episodes there.
No, I gave up. Brian. I gave up on Glee. Once Glee became about the music and not about the dark, hateful comedy, then all of a sudden I lost interest.
It's always been about music and dark, hateful.
Are we going to do our
well,
East meets West coverage? Oh, hey, Jammerby.
Hey. You want to do it on the recording? Because I'm almost set to go. All the recordings are running. So we can do episode 238.
Here we go. Welcome to East Meets West, episode 238. I'm Tom Merritt.
And I'm Roger Chang.
That's who you are. I'm glad you remembered.
That's who I am.
Also joining us today, because he happens to be in the Bay Area shooting his show Scam School, Chad Johnson.
Hey, thank you so much.
OMG,
it's
Chad.
A lot of work
How's it
coming
going?
out to San Francisco. I'm glad to be here. I also brought my boss with me. If you wouldn't mind introducing him, Tom.
Oh no, that's great. You also brought Brian Brushwood,
he
host
just
of
happened
Scam
to
School.
come along with me. Sometimes I
hate
let him
you guys
show
so
up.
much.
Brian, how's it going?
That's all right. Hey, I'm doing very, very well, man. Holy cow, is it ever a relief? Because as much as I love doing Scam School, the shoots are so stressful because you don't know what you're going to get in terms of the bar or the situation, and you're live in the middle of the field. It's absolutely insane. How great is it to just be hanging out with you and Roger Chang and just BSing about whatever it is we want? This, to me, is way, way more fun.
Well, you have been going nonstop, man. You went from CES, you hit the road, and you've been, and then you came out here for Scam School. You're going off to some description of a Wayne State somewhere.
Yeah. Did you know that Wayne State College, not the same thing? Did you know that one is in Detroit and the other's in Nebraska?
I would never suspect that. I know there's a difference between a college and a university. I believe, I may be wrong about this, that a university is technically a collection of colleges. Not the way, but we think of a college as being something that teaches multiple subjects, the way a university would be a multiple college around different subjects. So how are you allowed to have a Wayne State College and a Wayne State University? What's that about?
Well, it turns out that when I got the contract saying that I was booked at Wayne State, I didn't read the next word because I had played Wayne State University several times, and I was like, oh, how great, they're having me back. So I booked a ticket to Detroit straight from San Francisco, and I called the other act who's booked at the same time. I'm like, hey, man, we're doing a show tomorrow. I love Detroit. And he was just like, you realize the show's in Nebraska. And then,
It's not even in Detroit, Nebraska. It's
It's not Detroit, Nebraska. It's in Wayne, Nebraska. So I had to totally change all of my travel plans. It was highly, highly stressful, but everything's worked out.
I'm glad everything worked out. But Roger, is that allowed? Can they call two different things the same name because one's a college, one's a university?
Why not? Isn't that how a lot of stores and other products try to garner market share by having a very similar name? Classic example, movies. So, Transformers was kind of a big box office, at least the first one. And so there was another movie made called Transmorphers, which is ridiculously bad. Like, it literally shot, I swear to God, over a weekend with a bunch of out-of-work actors or something that just needed something to put on their resume. And I think they just do enough to get it up so when someone buys a movie, they don't really look at the entire title. They just see the first half of it and they mistake it. So it could be very much the same with is one
with
of the
college choices.
Yeah, is one of the Wayne states or universities, relatively well known or as an upstanding academic institution?
I mean, I think so. There was a great article on the people who make those, for lack of a better term, I guess like grandma confusion movies, where it's like they go to the movie store and they're going to buy one for their kids and they're not really sure what they're buying. And my favorite quote was the guy who they're very aware of what they're doing by cashing in on, people who can't get Transformers, so they get Transmorphers. So they can't get Transformers 2, so they get Transmorphers 2. Like he, without irony, in all seriousness, was just like, Transmorphers 2 is in every way better than Transformers 2. And I haven't seen him, but I'm tempted to believe him.
And I know there's a market for the people that want to get the really bad videos, that it's hilarious because it's Transmorphers 2 instead of...
I mean, there's something to love about Transmorphers.
I mean, I've been at parties where we watched the Big Shark movie, and it was like, oh, that's great, and just laugh at it.
Mega Shark.
They're often cheaper, too. 99-cent rentals are usually things like Transmorphers and...
Yeah, the bargain bin at Walmart. Yeah.
Well, what's interesting is someone has to be watching these movies for them to make enough money to make a sequel, right? People laugh at Mega Shark versus whatever Giant Octopus. Or
yeah, you got it.
But there has to be enough critical demand to turn over a decent profit, or a company's not, let's go make a really horrendous, bad sci-fi movie and lose $1 million in the process. No, it's like, hey, it's a really bad movie, but you know what? We all made, a decent amount of cash, so let's make another one.
See, people always don't realize it. It's just like, it's like you want to spend $1 million and maybe make a profit, or you want to spend $20 and definitely make $30. And then that's, it's like, then of course you come back for a sequel. If the first one made money, you come back.
Yeah, it's like those knockoff Star Wars movies, The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones. A lot of people were really sucked in and thought those were actual Star Wars movies.
Thought they were actual. You don't want to give me Star. I have actually pissed off and alienated fans over my hatred of the prequels and of what George Lucas is doing to his own work, and don't even get me started.
It's, maybe it was a cynical ploy, but maybe he thought that the fan base was resilient enough to withstand the 3 attempts to dislodge longtime fans from the Star Wars franchise.
You think he's trying to get, I'm so tired of people swamping me. I can't even go to eat anytime. People are just, you know what I'll do? I'll make 3 really poorly received prequels. And then I'll be able to sit and drink my coffee and eat my pie in peace.
You know what? It's, for a lot of people, that's their first experience with Star Wars. I mean, especially with people who were born in, the 90s, late 80s. I mean, they don't remember Return of the Jedi or Empire Strikes Back. That's the stuff their father listened to, like Led Zeppelin and
it hurts. Make it stop.
Yeah, but you know what? Led Zeppelin is a bad example there, because Led Zeppelin, when I went to college in the late 80s, early 90s, Led Zeppelin was 20 years old and was still huge on college campuses. Nobody thought of Led Zeppelin as your parents' music. Nobody thought of the Rolling Stones as your parents' music. Dude, that may have changed by now. But I'm just saying, like, I feel like Star Wars is fairly timeless. You either like it or you don't. It doesn't really have to do with age.
I think it's timeless for people who I think were exposed at an age where it made a huge impact. But I mean, I can honestly say it is a dated movie. I mean, when I went to college in like 93, 94, 95, keep going up.
10 years Roger went to college.
Zeppelin was indeed, it wasn't the music of your father, but it was the music of your father's brother, your uncle, the one in the family that was kind of the black sheep, but it wasn't necessarily your music, but you listened to it because, you heard it around, but it wasn't something you actively pursued. And I think, it's really hard because, I went to the comic book store today and I was talking to the Maru, who's working there, and she's in her late teens, and just talking to her about TV shows, I just realized what a huge generational, cultural gap there is. There's things that I can reference that she has absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, and things she'll talk about. It's like, oh, isn't that just another teen drama / school show or something? It's like, no, it's blah 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 blah. And I think as time goes on, it's going to be more painful for us because all these things that we're not going to turn into our parents, we're going to be cool forever. It's like, no, we're not. We're going to grow old. We're going to be
so I've been doing research on this subject using young OMG Chad over here. And here's what I figured out. Because when I was in my early 20s, I remember there were certain things about people that I just couldn't get over. For example, my business mentor is an illusionist who kept using these 80s songs in all of his music routines, and I hated them because they were cheesy and they were dated and old, and I remember I remember when that song came out or whatever. But now, a decade later, there's stuff I remember coming out 5-10 years ago, and I don't mind hearing it again.
Yeah, and I can't stand it.
Exactly.
I'm just like, oh, that was so sophomore year
2005.
high school. That was so, yes.
So here's my theory. My theory is there's something about being an adolescent that causes you to instantly hate whatever happened 4 years ago.
Well, it's kind of banged into your head that now you're an adult. Now you're on your own. Now
you perpetually hate whatever it is you loved a few years ago.
Well, it's like, now I'm a different person. I can't like any of that stuff that I used to like. That's a horrible idea.
And I ran into this with my 6-year-old who watched all of the Avatar cartoon series. She watched the whole series 3 times. And then, my brother bought her a plush Appa, and she's like, I'm so over that. And I'm like, no, those were awesome times.
Yeah.
We watched those shows. Don't hate what you were a year ago.
Yeah, I can understand.
Well, I think that goes to show it's not about whether something is new, popular, out, whatever. It has to do with the time in your life. There's a portion of your life where what you go through one year, you need to leave behind the next year, because to you it's like, I'm growing, I'm changing. That identifies me with a period of time when I didn't know all the stuff that I know now, because I'm learning things at a great rate. And then you get out of it. I mean, when I was in high school, anything that was 3 or 4 years old, sure, I was like, that's so old. Why would you listen to that? But 50s music, 60s music, Frank Sinatra, maybe, depending on who you were, that was okay because it was so
over the hump.
We didn't have an association.
You don't remember it
with
not existing.
Yeah.
It's like here's what happens. It's like you have a very short lifetime of it's new, it's novel. Oh crap, it's popular, and then oh my god, I hate it. And then if it's more than 7 years old, it's in the same category, whether it's 2002, whether it's 1992, whether it's 1942. It's now entered this heat death period, and it's all part of the great cosmic archives when you could dig it up, because that was amazing. Like before Chad, I had another assistant.
Before you had Chad?
But before I gave birth to Chad, before I gave birth to Chad, I had another assistant who had recently discovered Red Hot Chili Peppers and their Blood Sugar Sex Magic. Now, I was in high school when that album came out.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, he was like, dude, let's play this. And I'm like, yes, it's a very good album, which I've heard a lot.
Yeah.
Can we listen to, Muse or something new or whatever? And his eyes were just like, you're crazy. I don't understand this. This is awesome music. But it's like I finally was that old codger is like, this is fossil rock. Give me something new.
Well, and again, it has to do with like, I know when in the 80s, I wondered like, is someday that this music that I'm listening to that's fresh, that is on KWK's top 6 at 6, is that going to be considered a golden oldie like I think of the 50s rock now?
That's
Are
right.
people going to hear Rock Around the Clock? The way in the 80s we heard Rock Around the Clock. And even if you didn't really like it, you're like, oh yeah, Rock Around the Clock, it's a classic, whatever, I'm like, are people going to think about that when doves cry that way, or Climax, or Madonna? And it's funny to watch. Now here we are, that distance away from the 80s, and yes, they do, but I don't. There's songs from the 80s I like that I liked then and I still like, and there's songs that I don't. But there's all these songs that are like classic 80s hits, and I'm like, those things are crap. Why are those considered the classic 80s hits?
What's interesting is, since we're on the 80s, we'll take the 80s. 80s have come back in a way, fashion-wise, and certain sensibilities. But it's interesting to see what part of that decade of the pop culture people latch onto. I mean, because it was pretty broad, and the big shoulder pads and the whole big sweater, and you look like a giant wedge of cheese, like a V, and bad hair and stuff. It's stuff that, like, when I was like, yeah, this stuff looks like crap. And there are a part of an 80s that I liked, whether it was like, mods or whatever, that had a certain appeal to me. But when people refer to it, they never refer to that. They refer to specific elements that have been, constantly either been a caricature or satirized or something to such an extent. That's what people identify. I mean, I don't think everyone in the 70s went around in bell bottoms and drove like, an AMC Gremlin.
Everyone doesn't look like Lady Gaga right now? I think
everybody does.
Yeah.
Chad
definitely.
does.
I definitely look like Lady Gaga.
There's two things that I want to chime in on. One is I do believe there's a technological difference from the music that our parents listened to when we were in the 80s, because the ability to record high quality music wasn't there. The ability to create certain types of sounds wasn't there. And so, like when I hear sock hop crap, I just want to punch someone. But meanwhile, when I hear like deep funk from the early 70s, like that's freaking awesome to me, or Creed's Clearwater Revival or that kind of thing. I love it. But separating from music, I know fashions are cyclical, and I'm going to come out of the closet on something very bizarre that I've been waiting a very long time to have happen, because I have a secret shame that I've never shared with anyone. I've only told Chad.
Okay.
You probably know it. Secretly,
close, everyone.
Underneath my pants.
Whoa.
Secretly, underneath my pants, what do I do that I don't ever tell anyone that I'm doing?
Oh, I know.
What is
Scratch your ass.
It's his socks.
I pull my socks all the way up above my calves.
All the way up.
And I'm so stoked to see that coming back into fashion.
Oh, yeah. And
feels
when you
so
said
good.
we went to go buy socks. He's like, oh, what are these ankle socks? Get these out of here. And he'd buy the long calf socks.
It feels so good, the tube socks. I'm sorry.
Yeah, tube socks are great. What are you talking about?
See? Aha!
See, and they're coming back.
We
They're
got
definitely
Roger
coming
back in the mix.
Hey, you know what? I remember when the only thing you could buy were crew socks, and it's like it's freaking cold during gym, right? Especially during the winter. It's like, having a sock that you can hike up close to your knee is nice. It keeps it warm.
Yeah.
But fashions change, and eventually the stripes went away, but you could still kind of find them. But they don't go all the way. They're half.
Argyle is coming back. Crazy.
Argyle, I don't think ever wait.
I was about to say, did Argyle ever go?
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I guess that was something I noticed. I was like, Argyle. Whoa, Argyle socks. It's a great idea.
These are those moments when it's like, you're like, hey, guess what's coming into fashion now? And I'm like, you mean it left?
Oh my!
I never knew
that. Someone should get Eileen that maybe can help Tom back up.
Eileen's in New York.
Oh,
look at that. Ooh.
See? Feels good.
All the way up,
right
baby.
there, bro.
Now here's something crazy. I
I
have to
wasn't
take off
like
my
that in
shoe.
high school.
I got these no-shows. They're like, look at that.
See,
This is a 20-year-old.
Wrap your mind around this, Chad. Those are about to be out of fashion. It's all about high socks now.
I think they're already out of fashion. I don't think. I mean, the way to wear these is with a shoe on.
For those on the audio podcast, Chad is showing us his socks that look like red ballerina slippers.
They do. They look like lady slippers. Totally.
Yeah.
Unlike the masculine slippers we all wear.
Come on. All right, Roger. Bust them out. What are you wearing? What do you got? What are you rocking underneath those calves?
I have. All right. Well, I just got crew socks.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
There's nothing wrong with crew.
But not tube. They're
Nothing
the
wrong
ankle
with-
socks, right?
There's nothing what?
Not that there's anything wrong with tube socks. I was just
No,
clarifying.
I like tube socks. I was kind of bummed when they stopped selling them in bulk. You can only get them at the specialty Goodwill stores.
So what else?
Specialty Goodwill stores.
What else? What else is cyclical?
Wait.
Wait. Roger
Tom.
buys his socks at Goodwill?
I used to buy a lot of things at Goodwill.
Do you buy underwear at Goodwill?
No, never. That's one thing you never, ever buy.
I see that wall and I just think, why? Why is that there?
That doesn't exist. They don't sell.
No,
they, don't
they
sell,
do.
No.
Boxers.
No.
They sell. Yes.
No, they
I've
sell
seen
tidy
tidy
whities, but they're
whities.
never
I've
white.
seen.
That's what's
Yeah.
gross.
Are they like stained or
Like
No,
it's,
no, no.
they're not
They're
white.
They're just
They
not
only
white.
sell
yeah.
the unstained ones.
What is it?
Yeah.
I don't want butt rubbing up where someone else's butt was rubbing up.
That's why you look at that wall and you go, why?
They're bleached. perfect
Goodwill doesn't
step.
wash the clothes that they put on their shelves.
Nuh-uh. Where did you get that?
Because
You made that up.
No. I might have made that up. I might have made that up because the way that I know is Desert Industries does wash all of their clothes, and they I know that they
Propagandize.
yeah they say, hey, we wash everything that comes through here, and I think maybe and
All right, I have another sock-related fashion question.
I would love to know what their definition of wash is.
Yeah.
They,
Like,
they,
you
they
just hose
fire
it
a
down with a
hose at
garden
it.
hose.
Yeah.
All
They
right,
rinse it
question.
down.
Socks with flip-flops. Okay? Not
No,
okay.
Not okay.
No.
Are they?
not
Wait, do they have the
okay.
toes? Is it the toesy socks?
I have to say, like, I do it in the house when I have to, like, run outside really quick, and I've given myself dispensation. I don't know if that's still allowed, but socks with flip-flops out in the world, not. I don't think so. I still
what?
think it's not okay.
What about the socks that are made for flip?
No. You know what? Screw all y'all. Totally wear socks and flip-flops.
I know you do.
totally wear
I know
socks
you
with
do.
flip-flops.
You know what?
I'm not
Eileen
ashamed of
says-
it. I'm okay
Eileen
with
says
it.
socks with flip-flops are fine, too.
Who does?
Because one
Eileen
time I
does?
had the socks with flip-flops because I'd been outside with the dogs, and then we were going to leave. I was like, wait, I got to change my shoes. She's like, oh, you can do socks with flip-flops. I'm like, really? All right.
I didn't get the memo
And
on
then I
that
got
one.
made fun of
Dude,
on that very trip.
that I tell you, wearing an idiotic hairstyle like this is so liberating.
Well, I was about to say.
Once you rock this thing, how do you care about socks and flip-flops,
Oh,
man?
well, no, you weren't
Yeah.
saying
I look like
should
a
I
freaking-
care. You were saying is it like accept? I
Yeah,
was
you were
taking it
asking
as,
about
is
people,
it
not
acceptable
you.
or is it something people?
It's like,
You know.
okay, here's my advice to anyone who wants to do whatever they want with fashion. Have something that's so obviously wrong with you that you wear with pride. Nobody will ever notice.
An eye patch.
Do you think
You-
I could
no,
wear?
no, you
I
know
could
what?
wear whitey tighties, a tube top, socks with flip flops, and all people would do would be like, "What's up with your hair, bro?"
Okay, I was
Nobody
gonna say
would
respect
notice.
you. What?
No, yeah, they would totally respect me. They'd be like, "I love your hair. Let me feel it."
I don't. It's I mean, like, can you go? One thing I've always wondered, and I've always wanted to create, and I'm not sure if this is possible, is so formal wear has a very kind of a very tight set of rules of what you can wear and what you can and cannot. And so I was thinking, to simplify the whole process, could you make a formal or a dress coverall where it's just one piece, you zip it up and you're done, you're set. All you need are shoes and socks and maybe gloves. But
Now, would it look like you're wearing multiple pieces, or?
well, no, that's the thing. Like, does being dressed require you to have multiple layers of clothes on at any time? I mean, suit vests used to be really popular, but you don't see them anymore.
Yeah.
Do you?
The thing about it is you have to understand that all of what is acceptable is just based on consensus. At some time, we had a situation where everyone wore cravats, right, and tights that cut off at the mid thigh, and shoes that pointed up, and that seems silly now. And this is one of the problems I've had figuring out fashion, which is going and saying,
it's
how
your
do I logically decide what is fashionable? Because what is fashionable and what is logical don't make any sense. And that's what the question you're asking,
they're
Roger,
directly at
like,
odds with each other.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I understand, but I mean, could you potentially design designer classy coveralls or even overalls?
One word. One word. Elvis.
What?
That's the only person in all of history who can rock a onesie and make it work for him. Everything else is silly.
Yeah, I'd have to get over the idea of the old guy who works at the summer camp that has the onesie that clips in the front and is all made out of plaid.
Well, here's my answer to you, Roger. If you can get the world to accept it, then you can do whatever you want. But just like going out in the world with a coverall is not going to be acceptable as dress clothing in most situations.
Oh, wait. Brian is disagreeing with you.
There's only one situation. I can rock anything with this.
No, I said
you rock this
going
stupid
out in a dress
hairstyle, man.
coverall is not going to be accepted as dress clothing. What you're saying, Brian, is, hey, if I got the spiky hair, people don't care if my dress clothing's weird. And,
yes.
and I think that's totally true.
What if it's
but it
made out
doesn't
of
change.
gold lame?
It doesn't make it widely acceptable that everyone can now wear these coveralls until some movement starts. And maybe that movement starts with Brian going out with the spiky hair and wearing it, and then people going, you know what, that's
Brian,
not a bad idea. I'm going to start doing that too. But it's all a matter of just this weird mass acceptance of what's okay and what's not, which is why it's so funny when like in the 70s, everyone was like, yeah, we're going to wear bell-bottom trousers and we're going to have these weird shirts that are really tight. And then in the 80s, everyone laughed at that. And then late 90s, all that stuff started coming back and it was cool again. It doesn't make any logical sense at all.
Well, what I was going to tell Brian to do is, like, if you can find some coveralls and use one of those bedazzlers, you know, the things where you can put rhinestones and stuff, make a rhinestone coverall and just go to your events.
You know what?
See if people accept you. I think that would totally work with your whole act.
You know what?
Have you heard of Leslie Hall? She does that.
The sweaters. Rhinestone sweaters.
Gym sweater lady, and she's also a rock star that
a rapper, right?
Rapper.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm so glad that y'all heard it. She's amazing.
Yes,
just amazing.
Amazing is subjective.
You know what? She's amazing, is what she is.
Well, there's fashion, right? So if Brian gets somebody to put his spangled jumpsuit out on the runway in Paris and it becomes a hit, then it's fashionable. But that still doesn't make it dress clothing.
That's true. Lady Gaga.
Dress clothing is very conservative and moves very slowly.
But it does.
We're losing pieces of the garments. It used to be a man did not go outside without his hat on.
Yes.
That was just, you were undressed if you did not have some sort of hat. And if you didn't have an appropriate hat, then you had a newsboy cap or something. You had some sort of something covering your head. However, we've lost that. We've lost that almost entirely. Now wearing a hat is a choice. It's a fashion statement. It's like, hey, I'm wearing a hat. Isn't that cool? Ties are kind of in that transition period right now. If you're in the more conservative societies like New York, East Coast, Europe, and you're in a business situation, a tie is still a must. On the West Coast, some other areas of the country, some other areas of the world, just the jacket is fine, unless it's a very, very high pressure situation or you're meeting with those people from New York.
In my imagination, and I'm the last person you should ask for fashion advice, obviously, but it's almost like gravitational pull. There are certain items, little asteroids will swing in and out of orbits, stuff like, crazy feathered caps or nutty sunglasses or whatever. But like dress code for formal events, that's a Jupiter. And it takes an awful lot to move its orbit, finally, one way or the other. And finally, like you're right, like the evidence that we're no longer wearing hats as a formal decision all the time, I think is evidence to that direction.
In some cases you do have exceptions. I mean, well, no, I would say exceptions, but for example,
there's always exceptions, sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was just watching the Golden Globes red carpet. I mean, women have to, as the old saying goes, that they have to, they have to spend more attention or spend more time on their outfits, and they can be a variety of different shapes, sizes, colors, and stuff. But when you see the men, it's normally a tux. It's usually a tux of some type. Sure, they might have a different color cummerbund or bow tie that goes with it. But for the most
if they've
part,
got a white tux on, then it makes the news the next day how so-and-so was really, going out there, whereas the dresses are all different colors.
yeah. And what if they just had, something like that for men where you did not always have to wear a tux? You could wear a dress coverall. It would have that.
You're really pushing the dress
like
coverall.
What is the event that you don't want to have to dress up for that you need the dress coverall for?
I don't have any event. I think it would be cool to have dress coveralls.
I guarantee you, instantly in the chat room, we're going to start seeing photoshops of Roger Chang in dress coveralls at all kinds of formal events.
Roger at the Golden Globes.
It's a time that has come.
Roger accepting his Nobel Peace Prize.
You can fight. You can only fight the onesie so long. Is the quote from Roger?
Foreign dignitaries don't necessarily have to conform to the Western style of formal dress. They can wear.
Well, they have to conform to their cultural style. It seems like.
Yeah, well, exactly. So, what if you're a subset? What if your particular subset, your subculture, agrees that is a formal dress?
All right.
Yeah.
I will be your subculture, you and me. It's
it's the onesie
you
all the
agree
way.
it's a onesie, and I agree it's awesome. So
you're seceding from the union, Roger, in order to be a foreign dignitary. You can wear a onesie.
It's just a social convention. It's not written law. You need to show up in a tux and tie.
Wait, you know what? Actually, I mean, for as much of a joke as we're making of this, in the chat room, Z-Dog points out that Malcolm Gladwell did talk about this in the Tipping Point, where things that are so dorky that they're cool, and then all of a sudden they completely like the Earth's magnetic sphere switching north and south. It's like, oh, that's so dumb. It's awesome. That's hilarious. And then all of a sudden, woof, it's totally awesome because it's so dumb. I mean, it's amazing how that works with fashion.
Yeah, I could see that with kilts maybe. Like I know a whole bunch of guys, not a whole bunch, but I know some people that they sport
my kilt gang.
All of my friends wearing the kilts nowadays. Yeah, people who wear kilts and at high school and whatever. I can see
TSA checkpoints.
Yes.
Yeah, that's formal, right? You can wear that.
Well, if you're Scottish.
Roger, you say it's just a social convention, but that's exactly my point. It's a social convention, and just because it's a social convention doesn't mean it's easy to change. You still will make a scene, be paid attention to. You will stand out. That may be fine. That may be what you want. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm saying you can't just force the social convention to change. It's like, steering
I disagree. I think you can. If you're in a position of power, if you are in a position of control of the media, if you are in a position
you have to have a lot of
and
power.
if you also have a knack for figuring out whatever is so uncool that it might make its own statement that would be cool, I think you totally can force the issue.
Yeah, you have to do it the right way.
Lady Gaga is that person. She's the person who goes back and says, what is exactly 18 years old that I could bring back right now? Leg warmers, not so much. How about,
Kirby the Frog? Definitely.
Yeah, sure.
It's difficult, though. You have to be a particular kind of person like Lady Gaga. And even Lady Gaga is not changing the default convention of what is dress. What is dress code.
You're so supportive of me, Tom.
I'm looking up Get Lady Gaga Kirby the Frog
here. It's not about
here.
supporting. I'm just speaking the facts.
Kermit.
Sorry,
Kermit.
that was.
I'm just trying to make your expectations a little more realistic, Roger. Not everyone can go around and sport a onesie.
Roger, I just don't want you showing up at this event that you obviously are dreading going to, wearing the coverall and expecting everyone to just accept it. You're going to make a splash, and I think that's okay. I think you should own it.
I'm trying to get Jammer B to pull up a picture of Lady Gaga and Kermit the Frog.
Hey, it'd be kind of so how military officials can wear they have formal military attire with the medals and all that. Could Boy Scouts do that and have their merit badges?
Oh, they do. They totally do. In fact, actually, it's written in the Boy Scout code that at formal events they need to wear you don't wear a nice collared shirt.
It's called Class A.
Because you're an Eagle Scout, aren't you?
Yep.
Chad is an Eagle Scout.
Yep.
You at civic and formal events are expected to wear your Boy Scout uniform.
Yep.
Which I believe the newest version of the Boy Scout uniform, we actually have a photograph of it right here. We're going to cut over. This is actually OMG Chad at his prom.
Yeah, that's my date at the prom.
You had the Muppet badges.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It took a lot of time to earn all of those badges.
all those Kermits.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we have another picture right here coming up.
This is
it was a really hot date.
Again, for the audio podcast.
I know you're jealous.
It's a shot of Lady Gaga wearing a Kermit dress.
Yeah, Google it.
No, and the Kermit dress is essentially a dress made up a bunch
a bunch of Kermit the Frogs.
It's kind of disturbing, actually. It's kind of like if she
Gosh,
Kind of like
being
a
green look
Kermit
easy.
It's like genocide of Kermit the Frogs just on her
know.
chest.
Since we brought up the fact that you're a Boy Scout, somebody had a really interesting and I think important question. Somebody in the chat room was dismissively like, "Sorry, dude, Boy Scouts are homophobes. I'm out." Like, did you get any of that?
Yes. Well, no. That's all. So the troop
When
I
did you
was
stop
in.
beating your wife too? I'd also like to know that.
The troop I was in was very very
Boy-centric.
yeah. I don't know how to.
The troop I was in
Did
love
you favor
boys.
men over women in the Boy Scouts?
The troop I was
let
in
me-
was very
We'll explain the
open-minded.
sock.
Is what I was trying to
You
say.
did not experience or see any homophobia in the troop you were in?
No, there was no homophobia in the troop I was in, but
Nor homophilia.
nor homophilia or boyophilia,
Right,
any of that
right,
stuff.
right.
No, but
Philia.
There were no
But-
hemophiliacs in the troop?
There was no hemophiliacs. They all had
Yeah.
robust blood cells.
yeah.
Okay.
But our troop and part of our troop actually challenged the stereotype of the Boy Scout sort of homophobia, and it didn't. We had parents that left because of it. We had and that was a Boy Scouts of America larger scale sort of decision. That wasn't a troop by troop basis. Like, so our troop was cool with it, but BSA in general isn't, and so that's that's how that is.
So, like, did that affect you? Like, you had to. Your generation is much more aware than my generation, or certainly any of the folks that came before me, as far as the appropriateness of homosexual and heterosexual coming together. But like, was it a sticking point for you guys in your Boy Scout troop, or
as I remember it, and I was young when it happened. Like, I was 12 or 13 when it all kind of hit the fan. As I remember it, the BSA was more worried about parents who were gay than children who were gay. And so if there was an openly gay parent, they wouldn't allow that parent to come to any Boy Scouts of America stuff. They wouldn't allow that parent to do.
wow, so they wouldn't even. In my imagination, in my whitewashed imagination, I just figured they would be like, "Hey, man, come, but why don't you why don't you grow a beard?
Don't
before
ask,
you-"
don't tell.
Yeah, I mean,
sort of thing.
Why don't you talk about how much you love Rosie O'Donnell or something?
Right, right. And, but I mean, at the time, I was too young to really care about what was going on. And now since I've left the Boy Scouts, I haven't really followed up on it. And I know there's that stereotype of homophobia in the Boy Scouts.
Chad, what led to your divisive split with the Boy Scouts?
I actually turned 18 and I got my Eagle Scout. And it was once you turn 18, you are no
You're kicked
longer
out of the nest.
Yeah, you're no longer a Boy Scout.
Boy, man.
Oh, well, you are.
Scout.
Yeah, you're a man scout, right? yeah. No, you're not really like kicked out, but you're sort of. I don't know what they call it, but yeah. But I had also gotten my Eagle by that point, and there was once you hit that, it's kind of there's a really easy out being like, hey, I got real life. I'm a senior in high school. I've got to worry about college now.
Soapbox Derby, come on!
Yeah, exactly.
You're like,
right.
you know what used to be cool? Whittling. You know what's awesome now? Partying.
Chicks. Yeah, exactly.
Ladies.
Yeah.
So, man, I don't know. It's like, so if you're, we did this on Twit, but it's like, if you're going to handicap this, I'd be interested, like, is the BSA going to remain with the same policy 5-10 years from now?
I hope not. I mean, it's stupid. It's stupid and it's small-minded and I think that there's no reason. And, well, I also think it's weird that BSA has some of they get around a lot of like taxes. They're almost like a church.
Well, that's-
like there's some weird
they're a
things.
nonprofit organization.
Yeah, there's some. Well, yeah, I guess.
They get government-derived benefits. Like,
Yeah.
for example, they get a lot of schools will donate space to the BSA they'll only charge them $1.
Yeah.
Whereas if I was about to say, hey, we're going to have a Satanists of America club meeting, how much would you charge us? My guess is not $1.
Right. Well, I also know, like, if I was to join the military, I would join at a higher rank because I have an Eagle Scout. Yeah. Yes.
So wait a minute. Would you just be like, was an E3? Well, what does it start out? E3?
I have no idea. I have no intention of joining the military, so I haven't.
Just being a member of the BSA gives you a higher rank?
Being an Eagle Scout of Boy Scouts of America.
Ranking member. I didn't know the Business Software Alliance was so powerful. I really had no idea.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I haven't. I mean, I just really haven't read up on it. It was something. To me, Boy Scouts isn't any of that. It is from an outsider looking in. You know, that's what you would see. But for me, it was the troop. It was the friends. It was. You know, my father. It was. My father was a volunteer for it forever, and it was just a fun time as a kid that we'd go camping and we'd have a lot of fun, and that it didn't really factor in all of that extra sort of
baggage.
Baggage or politicalness of it all. You know, that didn't bother me.
You must remember your father's face.
Remember the face of your father.
You shoot not with your hand, but with your mind.
You kill with your heart is what it is.
Kill with your heart.
Have you come? Obviously, you're talking about the Dark Tower series. Have you come around to Frank Muller as the superior of the two readers?
I have gotten used to Frank Muller, and I'd just like to point out right now that this would be a perfect point for a sponsor. Frank Muller is the narrator of the Guns of Dark Towers 2 and 3, if you buy them.
And 4.
Online. Is he? I haven't got to 4. I've read 2 and 3.
He read 1 through 4, but 1 was rewritten by Stephen King after Frank Muller's motorcycle accident. So as a result, the only ones that Audible still keeps are 2, 3, and 4, which I believe he is definitely the superior one on those.
Well, I liked the guy who read 1 that I heard better. So it took me a while to get rid of Frank, to get used to Frank. But I am definitely used to him now, and I'm buying it. He does an amazing Eddie Dean, and so I couldn't imagine the first guy doing Eddie Dean, but apparently that's the one you get when you buy 4. You get the first guy again. Or 5. I can't remember.
5. Yeah, you go back to 5. And I'll tell you what, here's the other thing he's so genius at. When you get to Dark Tower 4, there are extended passages that are read by Cuthbert, and Cuthbert's voice is exactly Eddie Dean's voice minus the New York accent. And it's amazing that he's able to pull that off. It is phenomenal.
That makes sense. All right. That is it for this episode of East Meets West. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. OMG Chad, thank you for being on. It was a pleasure to have your perspective, for sure.
Thank you for having me on. This is great. This is really fun.
You can find Chad at omgchad.com. Brian Brushwood, host of NSFW Show, host of Scam School, co-host of Frame Rate, my fun show where frames are discussed.
The finest of shows, my friend.
Absolutely.
In fact, actually, I've gotten so many people requesting that first of all, one fan of the show is sending me the DVD sets of all of Fringe available, so I will shut up and watch them. And then also, I've had a number of people ask us to review The Cape. So I'm going to watch some episodes of The Cape.
You know what? I found that the pilot was re-airing on USA. I know I can watch it on Hulu. So I'll meet that. I will watch at least the first episode of The Cape so we can give it a shot.
It's a mixed bag.
Mixed bag, Roger?
You don't like it?
Yes.
So
it was all right. I mean, it's a pilot. Kind of corny in a lot of places.
That's what I was afraid of.
Corny. But, I mean, it definitely has potential, so I'll give it, a couple more episodes.
Follow Brian on Twitter at Schwood, SHWOOD. Find out what he's up to. There's also Schwood.com. Is that right?
Yeah, but nobody ever goes there. Just follow my Twitter. Yeah. That's all I care about these days.
It's too crowded.
Yeah.
And Roger Chang, thank you, sir.
Yes. It's been a pleasure to be on the show.
As usual. Thanks to Jabber B for running the board. Thanks to Leo for letting us stream live on Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And thanks to all of you for watching or listening, however you consume the show. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Really? Why is everything really, Roger? What's wrong?
Hey, can we talk, Roger, real quick about your since we're off the show now? Can we talk about your appearance on Scam School?
Yes, you may talk about the appearance on Scam School.
It was awesome.
Oh yeah, we forgot to talk about David Blaine or Roger's appearance on Scam School,
Which were, I believe, the two topics we set up at the beginning of the show. We only said we wanted to talk about two things.
East meets West. We never talk about what we plan. Almost never.